Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be a lot different. I'm going to show you how I remove my nails at home with art and with stones and doing some cuticle work. So this is actually the absolute most heartbreaking moment of anything I do on my hands, is removing the art, and it sucks. So for this, what you're going to need is something to soak your hands in. I have these really nice bowls that I bought off of Amazon, and it's nice to have two because, as you can see, I'm using my previous phone to watch some stuff. I'm actually watching Nail School. And then you're going to need some 100% acetone. I pick it up literally every time I go to the store. That, alcohol, and peroxide, but that's just me. I do have this blue stuff, so if you do pick up this blue stuff, you can use it. However, I do wind up using it because I just want to get rid of it, but it stains, so I don't really like using it, just to let you guys know. So removing my nails are super duper long, as you guys already know. Removing them is not really hard, it's just heartbreaking, and I don't like doing it. I use my not my game changer, my Tsumani drill bit from Hot Tips Beauty, to help remove the cover, or take down the bulk of the nail, and to take it pretty much down all the way up to where I feel comfortable. And as you guys can see, that middle finger is looking really wonky, and I'm just tired to look at it. So it's time to do something different. So I'm just cutting these off with a regular old pair of fingernail clippers, nothing super fancy. I do have straight edge ones, but I use them when I need them. This is the hardest part right here. I know I have yet to release this video, however, I do have something special with this one, so just stay tuned for it. But this was heartbreaking as heck. I didn't mean to throw that nail either. This is the most heartbreaking moment, absolutely, because I worked so hard on these and I absolutely love them. Such my aesthetic, and it sucked to have to remove them. So I just clip them off, I toss them in the trash, I move on with the next bit. So now what I do is I take my MelodySusie Drill with my game changer, I keep trying to say game changer, my Tsunami bit from Hot Tips Beauty, and this bit has very wide spacing on it, and it works very well in taking down acrylic, but I would not use this on your natural nail at all, because you will mess yourself up, absolutely 110%. This really, as you can see, glides through the gel polish, and it's actually taking off layers of acrylic as well. So using this bit is an absolute breeze. Even though this video is sped up, it didn't take long to take it down to a point where I was comfortable. Now, with taking down acrylic like this on yourself, I'm sure you're going to be more heat tolerant to yourself than you are others, but what you want to do is definitely practice to make sure that, I know you guys have probably seen that egg challenge going around, the Kiara Sky egg challenge, but practice on something where you can tell if you're going in too deep or not. If the drill stops at a certain speed, you're going too deep. I've been doing this for quite some time. I've been doing my own nails for some years now, but putting it on YouTube for just not too long, but long enough. And I will say that you do learn, and I can go at a relatively high speed. I think it's about 16 to 20,000 RPM, I think. Don't quote me. I never really look. I just listen, to be honest, and then that's probably bad. But I just listen to hear what the speed is, and I go based off of that. So I can go at a relatively high speed on myself to take down product pretty quickly. But if I'm working on somebody else, I definitely make sure that I am more gentle. I can still go at a pretty high speed, but I just make sure that I am being very gentle, because not everybody has a tolerance as I do. So just removing really the gel polish and, like I said, chunks of acrylic, you can see that flying. One day eventually I'll get a nail vacuum, but in the meantime I definitely just bought a vacuum and I love using it. I don't know if that's part of adulting, but I love using that vacuum. It's absolutely amazing. But enough me and my vacuum chronicles. If you have the luxury of having a nail vacuum, definitely keep it around for these purposes, just because, especially if you're doing more art on the nails than you are doing the actual nail, if that makes sense, this stuff gets everywhere, as you can see, and my little bitty table does a pretty good job of keeping it well contained, but definitely want to invest in either a vacuum or a nail vacuum, and I don't think I would get a nail vacuum until I get a bigger space. My space is not super huge. It's actually in the corner of my bedroom behind my or next to my closet. So I mean, I pack a lot of stuff in here, but I don't think I would have the actual usable space for a nail vacuum unless I built a table. So here I'm almost done removing all of the gel polish, and when I go to remove my stones, there's two ways you can do it. If you do use stones a lot, I'd highly recommend you not use your cuticle nippers. Please don't. I've gone through more than two pair of cuticle nippers. I've gone through several pairs of cuticle nippers, and the ones that you see me bring out, I actually messed up because I tried to use them on stones, and yeah, they don't cut cuticles very well anymore. So that's just that hand, and I'm just gonna go ahead and dust it off real quick, and cut down some more length, because I see after I've initially drilled down some acrylic, it does make it a little bit thinner for me to cut and see where the nail is. Also, because this was a sculpted nail, so sometimes the acrylic does get underneath your natural nail, so you have to be careful not to cut that off. So like I said, right now I'm just grabbing these. These are really cute. They were super cute, but I messed up the part that cinches them because I wanted to do exactly what I'm doing now. And as you can see, I actually don't take any stones off with this. So just ignore it. If you can find one, tag me on Instagram, leave a link down in the comments, something. But I need an actual stone remover. So if anyone knows a good one, let me know. So I try here to cut down the acrylic a little bit more, but it is really thick on my ring finger, and that's the downside of sculpting with your non-dominant hand. You just don't really know until you just keep practicing. So practice, something I can always tell beginners. So this is another way you can take off the stones. I don't necessarily recommend it. As you can see, you will see stones flying everywhere. None of them hit me. You can also see the smoke that it makes. It's not actual smoke, it's more of a lot of dust, and these are glass stones, so it's just me drilling away at the glass and everything else on it. My favorite part about taking off stones, though, is when you start getting to the gel polish and where you put the actual glue, it just kind of peels. I like peeling it. I like peeling it for the longest time. I don't know, random tangent, but I don't know if you guys watch Simply Not Logical, but I definitely would sit around and watch her peeling videos because I just thought that was so satisfying. But anyways, enough of my weird nailness. This stuff does fly everywhere. It flies in chunks. Chunks is as big as the stone themselves, so make sure you either wear protection or you move them correctly. Please don't do things as I do. I just show you guys the way not to do stuff. So I also hold my right hand I hold both hands in a gangster lean whenever I'm filing. Whenever I'm filing with the drill, using my left hand on my right, I always have this hold. I also want to remind you guys, if you don't remember, that my pinky nail on my right hand was actually broken. So with that, I am kind of holding it in place because I do feel the nail moving. It doesn't hurt. It's very well healed at this point. It just has to grow out because it broke so low. So you'll see how I take care of that later. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove the rest of these stones with my bit. Again, I don't recommend you doing it this way, but this is the way you can do it if you're doing it on yourself in the comfort of your own home. I definitely would not recommend doing this on a client. Go ahead, spend the money, you're going to make it right back. Get a actual pair of rhinestone removers and do it that way because it'll save you a lot of time. And I also want to get into today, and I know you probably saw it in the title of today's video, but I also want to get into the fact about the monomer I used on these nails. Now, if you guys remember, for these nails I did use my Saviland acrylic set, and I wasn't happy because it yellowed. So once we get to the removal part, I'll show you guys why I am no longer a fan of Saviland monomer. return back to my left hand to take off some more, product down, and I do switch back and forth between my hands because my hand, the grip just gets tiring to hold after a while. Cocking your hand up in a gangsta lean is just, it's hard to hold for a little bit. So I switch back and forth to take down the acrylic, and also in case it does get a little hot on my fingers, I do just go ahead and let them cool off basically. Personally, I don't really mind if there's a lot of acrylic on my nail afterwards, unless it's like a different colored acrylic. But for the most part, I usually leave a little bit on there because I just simply don't care. It's going to be 9 times out of 10 the same color anyway, or something that covers it up. So I would only really remove it if I'm doing a full removal, or if I broke a nail or something like that, I would take it down even more, or take it off completely. But soaking these off, I took it down as much as I wanted to wait for, and that's something you guys should keep in mind when I go off to soak these. So I'm just gonna go ahead and continue to take this acrylic down, and I'll be back when we get ready to soak. Looking back and while I'm recording this, I know it looks like I'm pushing down really hard on my fingers. I promise you guys I am not. I am pushing very lightly on my nail and letting the drill do the work while keeping control of my non-dominant hand by, as you can see, I'm kind of resting my right hand against it to keep it steady, and that's just how I do it. But I don't push hard into my nail at all, and this doesn't hurt me. And if I feel a burn, I know I'm going too much, but I might feel a burn maybe once out of this entire time doing it. So do not push hard on your nails, guys. Please don't. It looks like I am, but I guarantee you I'm not. My nails do come out 100% fine in this. Another thing with those who are learning to sculpt, as I am, and especially with your not sculpting with your non-dominant hand on your dominant hand. One thing that's definitely that you need to practice on, from experience and from taking off the nails, is to make sure that the nails are about the same thickness. I noticed that taking down the acrylic on like my middle finger didn't take long at all. Taking down the acrylic on my pinky didn't take down at all, and that was a broken nail. And then taking down the acrylic, but taking down the acrylic on my thumb, my middle finger, and my ring finger, I noticed they were a lot thicker, and you just have to pay attention to that when you're doing it. It's difficult, especially with this. I've used sculpting on this hand. I probably sculpted with my left hand maybe 4 times and that's probably 4 or 5 times max. And I mean, I'm not good at it. That's obvious. I had to go out and learn from those who were teaching on YouTube and teaching on Instagram. But when you learn, you want to make sure, like I said, that definitely, if you know what you're doing, get a pinching tool, because I've seen those help. And I'll do a video with a pinching tool that I did purchase, to show you guys how to use it and how I've learned to use it and what the outcome of it is and the reason why. And then you want to, again, just keep consistency throughout the nails. Like, make sure the C curves are as consistent as possible, and make sure that the thickness is as consistent as possible, to make sure that when you take it off, it doesn't take as long to just file. So total to take this down through both hands maybe took about 20 minutes, which in my head is too long. It should only be taking about 10-15 max, and then another 10 to soak off. So coming up, we're gonna go ahead and get ready to soak off, and I will show you guys what to do next. So after I'm done taking it down to where I'm comfortable, I go ahead and just dust myself off really good, and I actually go downstairs and I wash my hands really well. Not that it's necessarily needed, it's about to melt off anyway, but that's what I do to prepare myself, make sure I'm nice and clean. So here are my hands all nice and clean. Like I said, I washed them off, and so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go ahead and soak. This is how you can tell a monomer is EMA or MMA. It kind of sucks to find out after you've already put the nails on, but this is how you find out, and I found out something horrible. So using my little fancy nifty bowls, I have my phone set up. I think I watched A Room to Die For on Amazon Prime. It's a horror film, British, not that bad. And I go ahead and start soaking my nails. I usually let them sit for 20 minutes. And I know some people will probably be like, why so long? If you know why, say it down below. But I'm going to let you guys know in just a second. So I'm going to go ahead and sit for 20 minutes and I'll be back. So here we are, it's been 20 minutes, and I'm just have this metal cuticle pusher, and I'm gonna go ahead and start scraping this off. Immediately I know this is not EMA monomer, this is MMA. The difference is EMA monomer is supposed to flake. It's supposed to be really nice and easy to remove. Should not take you 20 minutes to remove the acrylic at all. This is very gummy. It dries. It's not supposed to dry, but it dries and turns into like this wrinkly skin kind of thing. If you see it bunching up, it is a disgusting mess. So as you can, it's like literal glue. I don't know if you guys used to play with glue that came on the backs of or on the insides of envelopes inside of magazines back in the days, but like you used to peel off whatever came in it and then you would peel the glue behind it. That's what this feels like, but on your nails. And you don't know it until it's too late, because some of the other symptoms of you knowing that you're using MMA monomer is that there's the smell, there's a fragrance behind this one. It can burn. That's just gross. It can burn when you put it on. It can get really hot. And I've had it get hot before, but never thought anything of it until I did some more research on it after this. But I am no longer buying or using the Saviland monomer. The one that I have now was from the Saviland acrylic kit that I purchased a couple videos back, and I'll leave the link for that one up top. And I should have known when it started to yellow. I should have known better as soon as the acrylic started to yellow, and you guys know that was a big thing for me because I wanted to do a clear nail, and they yellowed really badly. It's just it takes forever to take off. So this is the first round of 20 minutes. As you can see, this hand is already dried. I barely got through my right hand before the other hand started to dry. You see me going underneath the nail. That's just because there's acrylic underneath the nail, and I low-key like the feeling of it when you pull it off. But this is not, it's labeled as EMA. It is not. It is definitely MMA. The way this works, I didn't mix acrylics. I didn't use anything different. It even lists EMA as an ingredient on the bottle, and this, I am telling you guys, is 100% not true. It's easy to work with. The smell isn't bad. It wasn't overpowering. But if you take off your acrylic and it looks gummy, it looks like you're pulling up folds of skin off of your fingernail, that means the acrylic used was MMA. It's a cheaper alternative. It is technically not legal to be used in salons. And you know, I understand that there's a price point behind it. It's a nice kit. Great for those who are beginning, but I will not be using this on myself or anyone else. I will only be using it on my practice hand. So this, I will never buy this kit ever again. Ever. Acrylics only. I'm only buying acrylic powder or gel polish. That's it. But I am never buying this monomer again for this reason here. So yeah, this is the bottle. It even says MMA free. As you guys can see, it's a definite lie. So don't buy this. Don't buy the kit. I'm boycotting it 100%. So this is after yet another 20 minutes, and we are going to attempt to scrape some more off of my fingernails. And you know, maybe I thought back and I thought maybe I did mix the liquids. I didn't. You can see it dragging from my pinky to the paper. Like that's not okay. That's not okay. That's just not okay. And I was 110% not happy with the fact that it took me, at this point it's been 40 minutes that I've been sitting in acetone, and my fingers are dried, as you can see. They're getting stained. I don't know if you guys can see the blue tint ish behind, or like on the nail from the acetone, and I know that's a personal thing, but whatever. I don't like sitting in acetone longer than I need to, and the fact that this is so freaking difficult to take off, you can't tell me that I don't know what I'm not doing. Like, I know what I'm doing when I'm putting on acrylic. I may not know how to sculpt, but that's beside the point. But this, you see how gummy that is? This nail I had to be careful of because this is the broken one. And sitting in this acetone really didn't hurt, because it's fully healed underneath. It was fine. But I'm still, I know exactly what I used, and this stuff is gummy. I mean, gum. It's gum. It's gum. It is, like, why can't I get it off my fingers? And that's another thing, because once it dries, the stuff on your hands is still sticky. And it took almost a day to take all of it off my hand, because after sitting in the acetone for so long, it finds its way up towards your knuckles and whatnot or whatever. And it would not come off my skin. I scrubbed with a brush. I scrubbed in the shower, and I was still peeling stuff off of my hands for like a day and a half, a day. So, I mean, look, I shouldn't have to fight that hard to get my acrylics off. So at this point, I'm 40 minutes into my movie, A Room to Die For, and things are getting juicy. So I get to go back in for another 20 minutes to continue this. And I'm glad that I just want to get it down enough to a point where there's not a whole lot of acrylic on my nail anymore, and I could drill it off, but I don't want to make a mistake because I'm so frustrated right now trying to scrape it off. So I just go ahead and sit back in for another 20 minutes to try and take this off. So as you can see, I didn't even wait the full 20 minutes. I set for 11 because I got tired of waiting. But at this point, I'm almost done with the movie that's an hour and a half long. I don't understand. The bottle clearly said, I know you guys saw that too. The bottle clearly stated that it was MMA free, but I'm down to the bottom layers of this and I'm still pulling off gum from my nails. And this MMA can really damage the health of your fingernails. It can cause yellowing of the nail bed. It can cause, you have to put deep grooves into it. I don't, which is probably why I experience lifting sometimes whenever I use it. But that's definitely something you need to look out for. If you go to these chop shops that, you know, say we'll give you a $15-$20 full set, I don't go pay the money, go spend the money and get your nails done that you know will last 3-4 weeks, don't look like crooked cement blocks, and are not made with this harmful stuff. It's actually illegal to use MMA in salons. I don't work in a salon. Yeah, I'm home-based, but I would never use this on a client, ever. If it takes this long and looks like old, dried, wrinkled, saggy, wet skin, I just, no, don't matter the price point. Go support another small business. I like Nail by John because I purchased from them before. However, I have purchased some stuff from some other smaller brands as well that I actually really do like. And I plan on purchasing more from other brands such as Nail House and such as Acrylics and Critics and I know Drea's Nails. I plan on buying from all of them, but I will never ever buy Saviland monomer ever again. They've lost my business and there's no way of them getting it back. The only thing you can do is improve moving forward. It should never take me an hour to take off my nails soaking in acrylic, and I'm just glad I don't have to take off the entirety of it all, because that is absolutely ridiculous. So Saviland, if you hear it, I can leave you an Amazon review, but let me tell you this, you guys need to get it together and do not lie to people, because this is not MMA free. This definitely has MMA in it. So guys, I will not leave the link for that down below, but it is in my prior video and I have linked it up in the cards. Do not purchase that kit on Amazon. Do not purchase their monomer at all, because it does have MMA in it. So what I'm doing here is I'm just taking a sanding band. This is a 240 grit sanding band, really gentle on the nails. And if you can see on my thumb, you can see where the blue from the acetone stained my hand. So that also sucks getting off too, which is why I don't recommend it. I'm just using a 240 grit sanding band at a relatively low speed, and because it is on my natural nail, just drilling off some of the acrylic if there's lumps, trying to make it smooth, just to make sure I have a nice smooth base for my next set of nails. And then I'm going to show you guys how I do my cuticle care. So I'm just going to go ahead and drill off some acrylic and make it nice and soft or flat, and I will explain my cuticle routine. this is my broken nail. I'm not sure if you guys can tell, but it has healed quite nicely. When I'm going over it with the sanding band, because it is a very soft sanding band, it doesn't affect it at all really. I just want to try and get it again as flat as possible, but I do wind up trimming it down because it has grown out a little bit since the last time I've taken my nails off completely. What you just saw me do there to my middle finger was I saw a piece of acrylic that comes up. The best way to make sure that you have a very strong hold for your next set of nails, if you do leave acrylic on your nails, is if you see like it looks very light colored or white almost. And I know I tried to attempt to show you guys on camera, but you may not be able to see it. So it's a white area that usually happens around the edges of the acrylic where it's been removed, and that's just where it's lifting. You definitely want to make sure you smooth that out or remove that as best as possible so that way there's no lifting caused on the next set. Just that little tiny millimeter of a millimeter slit can cause lifting as some water or something gets in there. So I do throw away my sanding band, and I'm going to go ahead and clean off my nails with a nail brush and an alcohol wipe. I do give them a quick trim. I start off with my regular nail clippers, but I do have flat clippers or straight edge clippers because I do want a flat nail bed or extended nail bed when I do my nails. I've really fallen in love with the way sculpting like Noodle, yes, I'm not trying to be her. I just like the way it looks with the extended nail bed and then the clear above it, and then the ability to just be able to paint over the whole thing. So I do like that. Full credits to her. So I just go for like a straight edge on my natural nails just because I like the way it looks, and low-key I like the way it feels whenever I have the form underneath my nail and it's a nice square shape. I'm not a big fan of having it rounded really, I've learned, because my fingers are shaped funny. So having that nice flat nail on my natural nail definitely makes it, for me, what I think personally, a better shaped sculpted nail when I finally get down to sculpting. So I'm just going to go ahead and trim these down while being very, very careful with my pinky. Even though it's completely healed underneath, you still want to be careful just in case that you clip something and it tears. With my pinky nail, the way it broke pretty much right through the center of the nail. So the break comes all the way across. I don't remove that whole broken piece because then I wouldn't have a surface really for the acrylic to sit on when I'm doing the actual nail. I cut off a nice bit amount right off the top here. Another reason why I wanted to use the flat clippers is because you see how it's growing, or you see how it broke. I can still slip a form underneath that and still have a nice shelf to put that on, but also be able to straighten out that where it's trying to come in some with the form. So I have completely cleaned up. I threw away my dirty towel, switched over to a new one, as you should. Definitely best practice to keep your area clean, and to make sure you don't mess up any of your work or get your hands dirty again. So here comes my cuticle care, and this is my updated version for the most part. I'm just going through with my cuticle pusher and pushing my cuticles back. I know some people use both ends. I definitely don't like to, just because I don't see the point if I'm gonna go in behind a drill. And if you guys can see, you can see that blue tinting from the acetone, but there's also like leftover material from the acrylic. So again, not buying Saviland monomer. So yeah, I just push that back my cuticles real gentle at a nice angle. You don't want to do it too flat, but at like a 35 to 45 degree angle is best. So now I'm taking my MelodySusie ceramic bit, and I actually love this cuticle bit because it really cleans up, and you can see it remove everything, and it's so satisfying. So I just take this and I go in around my cuticles. I did relatively good cuticle work when I did these hands originally with my failed attempt at a Viv Sue flame stone nails. I don't know what to call them. Stone flames. My ultimate attempt at that. I cleaned them up pretty good then. So they don't need too much, but here, like I said earlier, there's that whitish part on the acrylic that you want to make sure you remove. This bit is really good for that because you can pinpoint it and it doesn't hurt the nail at all. It's very gentle. So I just clean up the nail and clean up with parts of the acrylic that I think need to be cleaned up, and really focusing in on my cuticle area. One thing I've also learned, you guys, is with cuticle care, you definitely want to make sure you do it, especially if you're really focusing on cuticle care. One thing you can do as well is you can double push back. So I pushed it back with the cuticle pusher, but I also gently push it back as well as I'm running this through. Now this particular bit does have a safety edge on it, so it's rounded so it doesn't hurt or anything. It feels, like I said, it feels really comfortable, and it really gets in between the folds of the skin and the nail to be able to clean up that cuticle underneath to make sure you don't have any lifting later on. So this bit is really good. I'm gonna try and see if I have a link. I don't think I do, but it is a MelodySusie ceramic bit, and I think it came in a kit I bought off of Amazon or something. So that's all I do here. And like I said, I'm just cleaning up the acrylic as well. Any little white parts that I see, I go ahead and remove those as best as I can without trying to run that into my nail all the way. So now that I've done that, I'm going to go in with my nail brush and give it a really good cleaning with some 91% alcohol to get any dust and everything else out of any crevices, any cracks, anything. You don't want those inside the nail. And then I have my cuticle nippers here. I don't really need to cut the cuticles. Don't cut them if you don't need to, you guys. Cuticle growth varies person by person and hand by hand and actually finger by finger. So if you see that it doesn't need any trimming, don't go and try and cut it to make, this really nice clean look. If it doesn't need to be cut, don't risk damaging yourself or your client to be able to get an Instagram worthy picture. Cuticle health starts with the base of your nail, and you need to make sure that you just cut away any dead skin, which is what I'm doing here, or any skin that may have come up in between the nail. That little white piece that may come up every once in a while, it's probably old acrylic that just is farther down than what you expected. You can pull that gently out, but don't go too far. I really don't like cutting my cuticles unless it's absolutely 110% necessary, and I noticed that it is on my middle fingers, my favorite finger, more than anything, and sometimes my thumbs, but for the most part I don't really like cutting them because they do have a naturally clean look as is, and as long as your cuticle cleanup when you do your acrylics is very well maintained, you shouldn't really have a problem. So that's all I'm doing here. Normally after this, you would, if you're doing this on a client, you would throw some cuticle oil on their hands, rehydrate the skin, and they would pretty much be done if you're going natural. But besides that, that's all I do for my cuticle care. Like I said, I don't mind the acrylic being on there, and this is just how I do things. So again, I'm never using this Saviland acrylic ever again. Do not buy it, you guys. It is not MMA free. They even lie on the back and say that it does have EMA in it, and it does not. So that's all I have for you guys today. Just a quick cleanup video and how I do things and what not to buy. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.